Welcome back to Beijing in 2026. If you've been putting off China because of the paperwork, everything has changed. As of February 17, 2026, both Canadian and UK passport holders can now enter China completely visa-free for up to 30 days. Whether you're there for the history or the world-class food, the door is wide open. So let's dive into how to navigate the capital city in this new era of travel.
Here we go, everybody. We're entering the Great Wall of China. Let's go.
The Badaling Great Wall is located 1 hour outside of Beijing, and no trip to the city would be complete without seeing this wonder of the world.
Badaling now operates on a strict smart tourism model with a 65,000-person daily cap, meaning you must book your 40 yuan ticket online at least 7 days in advance. The best way to arrive is by high-speed rail from Beijing north. It's a 20-minute zip that costs less than $6 Canadian. Just remember to have your passport ready for digital scanners on your way in. If you want hassle-free booking, you can always book through Get Your Guide, which has tours from downtown Beijing, and we have links in the description below. We're on the Great Wall. We're walking up to the towers right now. This is the iconic one that you see on all the magazines and on TV. It's very exciting. There's hardly any tourists here. It's mostly locals that are here visiting the Great Wall. So it's really cool to experience it with everybody that is here from China. We are still going up, 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 up. It's steeper than you'd expect. It's a bit of a workout.
Steep!
The Badaling Great Wall is 3.5 miles long with an elevation gain of a little over 1,000 feet. There are lookout towers and places to walk out to viewpoints for better views of the wall and the valley. Make sure to give yourself at least 2 to 3 hours to explore the Badaling portion of the Great Wall of China.
And that was the Great Wall of China. All right, we're about to enter the Temple of Heaven here in Beijing.
The Temple of Heaven is one of the easiest UNESCO sites to access in Beijing. But heads up, you absolutely must book your tickets up to 7 days in advance online because they no longer sell core attraction tickets at the gate. To see everything, including the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest and the Echo Wall, get the combined ticket for 34 yuan, which is about $7 Canadian.
So this is obviously the center prayer rock where people stand in line to stand in the center of the Temple of Heaven and pray. So we're off to the Hall of Prayer for Great Harvest. Let's go.
Our best tip is to arrive at 7:30 a.m. to see the hundreds of locals practicing Tai Chi and ballroom dancing in the park groves. There are 92 buildings to explore at the Temple of Heaven, and a guided tour is highly recommended. If you want to make things easy, though, you can book through Get Your Guide, and we have the links in the descriptions below. But if there's one thing to check out, it's the echoes of the Echo Wall.
So we're heading past the Echo Wall and going into where they store the tablet. You can hear it all the way around. And when they built this, they didn't know that because it's a perfect circle that surrounds this temple.
So we are walking along the corridor where they took the sacrificial animals down here and obviously slaughtered them and then brought them out to the barrels over there to be burned as a sacrifice. Hi guys! Ni hao. Ni hao. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to enter the Forbidden City. It's not so forbidden anymore, people. The Forbidden City is now known as the Palace Museum, and it has transitioned into a highly regulated smart tourist site. The most critical shift on that site are ticket windows are a thing of the past, and advanced digital booking is mandatory. Prices remain seasonally tiered, but you must factor in service fees if booking through third-party English platforms.
So we've made it here inside the Forbidden City, inside the main gate, and man, you can just feel the history here when you walk in. It's been here for so long, you wonder who walked along these stones. It really is one of the most impressive places I've seen.
The Forbidden City is the #1 tourist attraction in Beijing. Built in the 1400s during the Ming Dynasty, it was used to house the emperor's households for 500 years. The standard fee starts at around $10 Canadian, with additional prices for the Treasure Gallery and the Clock Gallery.
So we've entered into the inner workings of the palace here. This is where he had his concubines and all the secret stuff went down, I suppose. So we're getting a peek inside royal life here in Beijing. So when you go to the Forbidden City, make sure you head up to the hill to get an overview over everything.
Jingshan Park is a royal garden above the Forbidden City and takes you up to the highest point in Beijing, offering an impressive overview of the entire complex. It is definitely worth walking up the hill to overlook the Forbidden City. The moat is 52 meters wide, and that's because back in the day, an arrow couldn't shoot farther than 52 meters, so to have everyone safe. So come on up here and you look over the whole of the Forbidden City and Beijing.
It's busy, but it's worth it. So we're here in Tiananmen Square, which is the largest square in the world, at 100 acres. That's pretty huge when you think about it. It's bigger than the Red Square in Russia, and it is pretty magnificent to be standing here. This is one of the only gates that is left here in Beijing, and right beside it, you can see that there is another gate, which is actually the guard gate. So that is to look over that one and protect it. There are only 2 gates left here in Beijing.
So we are in the heart of Tiananmen Square. Behind me is the government building and the People's Monument, commemorating all the wars and all the people who have died for China. You have the National Museum on one side, you have Chairman Mao's tomb on the other, and you have Tiananmen Gate, the oldest building in the square, built 600 years ago.
Make your way to Lama Temple.
Lama Temple is a Buddhist temple and monastery in Beijing. And while it is a functioning temple, it's also a popular tourist attraction that is open to visitors.
Well, we're about to go into the Gate of Harmony and Peace, and this is where everybody burns their incense.
So the final temple is the Temple of 10,000 Happiness, and it is a treat. There's a 26-meter high Buddha in there that is carved out of one single sandalwood tree. It's made the Guinness Book of World Records, and wow, it is impressive. Take a stroll to the Drum and Bell Towers. You can walk up and get a panoramic view of the area. The bell and drum towers date back to the 1200s and were used to announce time until 1924. They now offer great views of the historic Hutongs of Beijing, another not-to-miss attraction in the city.
Go for a walk in the Hutongs of Beijing.
Hutongs are historic narrow alleyways that are residential neighborhoods of Beijing. They were nearly demolished to make room for newer buildings, but luckily they have now been designated historic sites.
Make sure you come to the Hutong area and visit Pipe Street for a great old Chinese experience.
Get lost walking through the maze of streets or take a rickshaw ride to explore the entire area. Well, I don't think there's anything more authentically Chinese than going for a rickshaw ride downtown here in Beijing. Rickshaws take you through the back streets of the Hutongs to the man-made lake in Beijing, Huhai, or Back Sea. This artificial lake is surrounded by shops and tea houses, and you can take boat tours or just simply walk around and enjoy the energy. You can flag down drivers in areas like Shichahai or near the Drum Tower. Prices are about 20 to 40 Canadian dollars depending on length, but we recommend booking through Get Your Guide because they often have English-speaking drivers and you stop at pre-arranged locations. A lesser-known museum in Beijing is the Shuanan Museum. It's an exhibit hall of Chinese drama, folk music, business, and old Beijing culture. It's a hidden gem in a very busy city. Okay, we're at the Chongtue Temple. Chongchun. Chongyang? Almost. Stephanie says I got it, so I believe her. just go with it. While visiting the museum, for some reason they had Dave and I dress up and do some wrestling. I don't know, maybe they just wanted to see the foreigners make fools of themselves, but we had a lot of fun. This was the type of wrestling that they did at the Olympic Games. I think Dave and I are not very good at it.
But we're fashionable.
We are.
So we had a great time here learning some wrestling with Fu. He's been my instructor. You may see me at the next Olympic Games with him, you know, maybe. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
谢谢. While we're doing a little bit of Chinese calligraphy here, we're going to see how artistic we are. And hey, we're lucky we get to put on a costume. He was much thinner than me. This is what the king would wear.
Calligraphy is a sacred art in China, and it dates back 6,000 years. An interesting cultural experience is to try your hand at it when in Beijing. Most hotels and tour operators offer classes to tourists.
Had a great time learning calligraphy here. If you come to Beijing, make sure you give this a try. It tests out your artistic prowess.
Taking the subway here in Beijing, it's actually pretty simple. You can go to one of the machines, you choose which line you're going to, but you need to know what station you're also going to because it charges you by distance. Don't worry about it once everything here is in English, so you can figure it out pretty easily. You'll go through security, come downstairs to the subway, and then it shows you which side you should stand on, depending on what the end station is. So it's pretty simple to get around, and I think anybody can do it. So the machines here in Beijing are pretty easy. All you have to do is you come up here, the English button for everything, and then what you do is you have to know what line and where you're going. We are going to line 10, and we're going to Gumao station. So you just hit the station that you're going to, and it tells you how much it costs, 2 tickets, total 6 yuan, and then all you do is insert your money, and your tickets come out, and you're good to go.
As of 2025, Beijing became the first city in mainland China where you can skip the machines completely and just tap your international credit card directly at the gate. Your home bank card works exactly like a local pass, and you get charged accordingly. Standard fares still start at only 3 yuan, which is about 60 cents Canadian. Come to the famous Bird's Nest Stadium. Bird's Nest Stadium is a top venue for major concerts and events, but you can tour the stadium for 98 yuan, which is about 20 Canadian dollars. Make sure to book your tickets on the official WeChat mini program, or you can book through Get Your Guide, and we have the links below.
Doing some Hua family dining tonight with Peking duck, one of the most famous places here in Beijing to get the dish.
Peking duck is the national dish of China that was once only reserved for royalty and VIPs. Today, no trip to Beijing would be complete without giving it a try. Hua's restaurant on Guji Street remains a legend. Here you can expect to pay $160 to $200 yuan per person, which is about $30 to $38 Canadian for a full banquet.
So it's pretty cool. You eat your appetizers or all those things that we had, and then they bring the duck to your table and cut it right in front of you. And they only use the best portions of the duck as well. So it's got to be succulent and it will be tasty. So when you get your Peking duck, you've got to put it all together. And this is how you do it. You start with a pancake. You roll it out in your hand. You take the first piece of duck. You dip it in the first sauce, spread it on the pancake, place it in there. Grab another piece of Peking duck, put it in the second sauce, which is soybean sauce, and then you spread that on the pancake as well. And then you start adding all your fixins, whatever you want, cucumber, pineapple, radish, whatever you like. Then once it's finished, you just fold it one side, fold the other side, bring the two ends in, and you're ready to eat. All right, well, we're making dumplings here at the Chinese Royal Gastronomy Museum, and we'll see what kind of cook we are. I'm ready for surgery. Dumpling surgery happening.
The Royal Gastronomy Museum is a walk through Chinese cuisine history. We had a chance to explore displays of imperial cuisines, and we learned how to make authentic Chinese dumplings. We then got to sample our meals with a cultural show for entertainment. Okay, it's dumpling time. They brought out the dumplings that we made, and I'm about to taste it.
When you come to Beijing, you have to try a hot pot. It's not only a meal, but an experience as well. So we got beef, we've got mushrooms, we've got actually a bunch of different kinds of mushrooms in there, and who knows what else, but it looks good.
Look at that plate of goodness. So you put everything in the hot pot and let it heat up and then cook it, and then I put it in to my peanut sauce and eat it. Let's see if I can eat it really delicately.
Come and learn the art of bean curd and how to make tofu. So this is how to make bean curd with Dave. Starts off with yellow beans, like this. Put them into the hole, like that. Add some water. And then really, it's all in the way you turn it. Right? So we start counterclockwise. 1 or 2 turns, and then we turn back this way. You can see the beans go down in between the 2 rocks, like that. And it all comes out like a goo like that. And we're ready for our next step in making bean curd.
So once the bean curd has boiled, just scoop it out and put it in a mold in here, and then you press it down. And then once all the water is out, you just lift this off and you have your finished product. Before we leave, let's go through the 2026 Digital Survival Kit for you before you head out to Beijing. China is effectively cashless. You must use Alipay or WeChat Pay, and they're non-negotiable. Make sure to link your international Visa or MasterCard before you take off. Google and Instagram are still blocked in China, and your best bet is to travel with an eSIM. We use Airalo. And for translation, you can use Google Translate over your eSIM, or you can use WeChat with its built-in translator. And finally, remember the 7-day rule. Wherever you are going, make sure to book at least 7 days in advance, or book ahead with Get Your Guide to lock in early. And remember, your passport is your ticket, so always have that whenever you go into an attraction. And that is your tour of Beijing. It's definitely a city that is out of this world, with so many things to see and do and thousands of years of history. And if you enjoyed our videos, be sure to subscribe because we put out new travel videos each week.